Hey, what's up, studs? Ryan here, or MandRproductions, and today we are taking a look at two very big LEGO sets based off the same scene from Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Of course, these are the two Cloud City play sets. If you guys do enjoy this comparison video, let me know with a like on the video, and let your opinion be heard about these sets with a comment down below. I will be using my new comparison system, which takes into account 5 different categories, being minifigures, playability, design, overall value, and M&R's opinion, aka what I think is the better of the sets. So that's 5 different categories. One of these sets will come out on top as the winner in this comparison, as the better set, and you guys can vote on the poll on the top right of your screen to determine which you think is the better set. But we will be going through my opinion on it, and you guys can make your choice at the end of the video. Now, on the back of the original Cloud City, I have thrown on the Twin Pod Cloud Car and the Slave One. Obviously, this set did not come with those. I just thought it would be more interesting to have them on there, at least for just the looks of it, because the other set did come with the Slave One and the Twin Pod Cloud Car, and we can take a look at those. But the older Cloud City obviously didn't come with those, just so that you guys know, if you're new to LEGO Star Wars, or maybe you just didn't know, those two things that did not come included in that set, but they did with the newer one. Anyway, before we get into the 5 categories, we go over some general information. The first bit of that information is that the set on the left is 101.23 Cloud City, and it cost $100 when it was released in 2003. That $100 is roughly equivalent to $136 in 2018 money, and that is good for 7 minifigures, being the Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia, Boba Fett, Lando, Darth Vader, and a Stormtrooper there. So not too many figures, and 698 pieces was all you got. So a little bit on the pricey side. On the right side, we have set 75222 Contender number 2. It cost $350 when it was released in 2018, so no inflation count needed. 20 minifigures, you guys can see there. I'm not going to name them all off right now because it would just take too long, but we will scroll through them real quick. And 2,812 pieces, so that thing is a behemoth. Quite a building experience, to be honest. So let's go ahead and get into the first category, which is the minifigures, and we'll figure out which set has better minifigures. And there is a compelling argument for both, so let's start out with the original one. So here we are on the 2003 Cloud City, and those are our 7 minifigures up close and personal there. First off, we have Cloud City Luke, which is a pretty bland design using a regular tan color there. Nice prints though. You have leg printing, torso, and waist belt printing. You don't see that often, especially in the older days, so although you will see it 3 times in this particular set, it just wasn't as common back then. You have a really nice chrome lightsaber hilt and a pretty generic Luke Skywalker face for the time, nothing crazy about it. Moving on, we have the Han Solo there, who has the typical Han Solo legs that we saw for many, many years. The waist printing is pretty nice though. And then he's got his typical torso there, which isn't anything crazy. The Han Solo figure is probably the worst figure in the set. I guess the Stormtrooper would be the least rare, but the Han Solo figure to me just doesn't scream anything crazy. Leia, on the other hand, is pretty rare. She's hard to find. She's got a very unique torso print, which looks, in my opinion, a little bit off because the color of the torso just doesn't match the pants there. The browns don't line up. It just looks awkward to me. And then you can see she's got a very nice hairpiece. None of these figures have double-sided faces because double-sided faces were not a thing back in 2003. Moving on, we have the coveted Cloud City Boba Fett. When people say Cloud City Boba Fett, this is the one they are talking about. They aren't talking about this Cloud City Boba Fett from the new set. No, this is the Cloud City Boba Fett. It's got printing all over. For 2003, this minifigure was incredible, and it still is incredible by today's standards, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people's opinions. You got that nice little waist print there. You have more printing on the other arm here. And you aren't going to find much around back, though, because they were smart about it. You have the helmet that covers it up. But this Boba Fett is one of the most coveted minifigures in all of LEGO Star Wars, especially that was released in a full retail set like Cloud City. So, very cool figure. Of course, he's got his regular orange tip blaster there. So, that is the Cloud City Boba Fett. Moving on, we have the Lando Calrissian here with the blue blaster. He's got a very weird face. He's got a nice torso print, but the coolest thing about this figure, and I think the thing that makes this figure so expensive, is the cape. One side is a golden color, and the other side is a light baby blue color. So that is something really cool about that cape. You do not see double-sided capes like that often, or at least you definitely didn't up until more recently they've started to do them more, but that is a pretty rare thing. Moving on, we have Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper. We'll just kind of gloss over those because it is taking a while to get through the minifigs, but they are pretty standard run-of-the-mill Darth Vader and Stormtrooper right there. The Darth Vader even is a little bit disappointing because they didn't really add much to his torso print for this set, or if anything at all. Like, nothing made him exclusive, which would have been nice for this set, just as a nice nod to all the other figures that they included being exclusive. But those are the Cloud City minifigures from 2003. With the 2003 Cloud City minifigures there in the background, you can see that the 20 minifigures included in the newer Cloud City dwarf those of the older Cloud City set. It just does. There are so many figures in this set. R2-D2, C-3PO, and Chewbacca, probably all just incredible figures on their own, just kind of feel like throw-ins in a set like this. You have this beautiful, beautiful Cloud City Luke Skywalker here, and if we flip his face around, he has one of my favorite minifigure faces ever, and that's right when he finds out that Darth Vader is his father. Oh, spoiler alert, sorry. We have a Hoth Leia, we have the Cloud City Leia, and again, these do have double faces. I just don't want to turn them all around because you get the point with the Luke one. Like, some of them can be really good. We have a pair of Han Solo figures. I think the other face on this one should be a Han Solo in carbonite face, so his eyes are closed. So that's what you put on when you put him in the carbonite brick, which we'll get to in a second. We have the beautiful Cloud City Han minifigure here, which has dual molded legs, which is something you don't see often. So you can see the way those work around there. Very nice gun holster print on the right side of the leg, too. You do not see that ever. So that's what makes this particular Han Solo minifigure so good. You guys can see just such a great minifig. A lot of people really like that one. Of course, the Lando, much better than the older one because it does have that print inside of the cape. It's also just a much nicer looking cape, in my opinion, than the other one. I think they've done a much nicer job here. And of course, he's got this great big smile as opposed to the old one, which is just like a bland face as we zoom in there. But yeah, the new Lando, and the hair is really nice as well. Of course, we have the newer Cloud City Boba Fett, and obviously the older one does have that charm. The older Cloud City Boba Fett will always be better to me, but like objectively, like just based on accuracy, like the newer Boba Fett's better, right? Like it just is. But the old one just has that nostalgic charm. We have Darth Vader there, very awesome Darth Vader minifigure, and we have a couple Stormtroopers, and we have some Bespin pilots. We have some Bespin guards. Bespin pilots, by the way, exclusive to this set. Very, very nice figures. And then we have the Ugnaught. We have the Lobot, like the Lobot. And lastly, IG-88. So that's all 20 minifigures right there for the newer Cloud City. And honestly, I think it's no contest. I think that the newer Cloud City has the better minifigures. And I mean, if you disagree, more power to you. But as much as I like the older Cloud City, I found it really hard to give it any chance against what they've put out with the newer set. So this new Cloud City just has incredible minifigures, so many good ones, so many exclusive ones, so many ones that many people just want in their collection from such a classic Star Wars movie that this is just the set to get them in. So that is your 20 minifigures in the newer Cloud City versus the 7 in the old one. And I think the answer is clear. The new one's better. That is +1 for 75222. Moving on from minifigures, we have the playability category, and oh boy, do we have a lot to cover here, so I'm going to try to make it quick. With the original set, we have the playability here out on the little, I guess, balcony with Darth Vader and Luke, where you can have them have their epic duel here, where Darth Vader reveals to Luke that he is indeed his father, and Luke goes, no, it's not true, or whatever. So nothing insane there. Moving on, you do have more playability over here, where you can have Darth Vader and Luke also fighting, and the thing with this is, I should move these minifigures out of the way. The thing with this, though, is that you can take this big glass piece and just knock it down. So that's how you can kind of get them to go from inside Cloud City to getting to the outside of Cloud City, although it's a little bit of a finicky thing, because after you knock it down, they can't really get through. They have to be, like, on that platform when you break it, so it's a little weird in my opinion, but it does work nicely. Moving inside, you have this bit here, which is basically Darth Vader knocks it down, and that's it. Like, there's nothing crazy to it. So that's all for the Darth Vader Luke duel area of the playability for this set. Now, the middle area here, you have the door there. Right there, that's the door. You can see the archway. That would be the door. And if you want to open the door, you can twist it like this, counterclockwise, and it will open. That's it. It just opens about that far. And you can fit minifigures through it, just barely. But he fits through, and then he face plants. So Han Solo must have been taking some death sticks last night, but we won't worry about him. We'll get him out of the way. Nothing really else with playability in this area, unless you do want to count being able to sit at the table. Like that's a playability feature, I suppose, if you're a little kid, because that's definitely something I could see kids caring about, is being able to sit down at the table and enjoy a nice dinner on Cloud City. But obviously I won't be using that feature. We do have over here a little bit with the Han Solo in Carbonite, which is actually a really nice feature. So you don't have an Ugnaught, but you can take your Stormtrooper and have him stand up at the control panel, which is nice. Unfortunately, I got no Ugnaught in this set, but what you can do is you have two different platforms. So you have this platform, which is empty right now, which we will actually put a Han Solo minifigure onto, because that's who's supposed to be on there right now. Close that up. All right, so if we lift this all the way up, right, it's lifted up with Han Solo, and then you can drop it down, and then you have to manually change out Han Solo, move him off to the left, and then you can move on in Han Solo in Carbonite, slowly but surely, and you have to line it up so that it's lined up with the platform there, and up, up, and away, and we seem to also have broken it in the process, so that's a knock on the playability, but I think if we get this... So with that fixed, you can pull up the Han Solo in Carbonite and it will go right to the top, just like that. Sometimes you do have to finagle it on up, but it will get up there, and that's what it looks like at the peak of its spot there. Not a bad little function for 2003. I actually do quite like that. I thought it was a creative solution to something that was, I think, pretty tough for them to figure out, I'm sure. So the only other playability we have here is this basically landing pad, and without these additional sets, which I believe cost $10 and $20, without those additional sets, you just have a pad that does nothing. Like, that's the playability of it. So unless you spend a little extra money on top of the set, or at the time if you would have spent the extra money, then you could have some real playability with that landing pad. But unless you did that, you really had nothing going there. You could also fit the Millennium Falcon that was available at the time on there. But yeah, you had nothing else going for playability on this set, just kind of a blank wall here, which we'll get to in the overall design category. But that's it for playability on the 2003 version. Now, I'm going to set up the figures on the newer version, and we'll take a look at the playability on it. Looking over at the 2018 version of Cloud City, you guys can see there is a lot more room for playability. So we have a lot more rooms, which creates more of a dollhouse effect, I suppose. Like, you can, as a kid, you can play a lot more with different scenes. So you have a scene with Han and Leia here. You have a little jail cell that I just kind of threw I think that's a jail cell. I threw IG-88 in there. We, of course, have the dining room, which compares nicely to the one in the original Cloud City. It blows the other one out of the water, to be honest. So many nice little features in there, but we'll get to that in the design. We have the Han Solo in Carbonite freezing chamber there. Of course, you have the actual Ugnaught to use the control panel, unlike the old one. You guys can see the difference in the control panel as well there. And over here, back again, we have this very nice lever here. There's a lever on this side, and all this lever does is it takes the Han Solo there and it flips it. So a much easier, smoother, nicer, better looking, more accurate feature than the other one. I love it. Works so much better, so much cleaner and smoother. Just an amazing feature down there. So great job by LEGO on that one. Of course, we have the balcony here with Luke and Darth Vader again, so you can get that kind of dual recreated. You guys can see the difference there versus the old one. Very, very big difference. They have added so much detail to that particular scene with the new one. Of course, the freezing chamber. There's the comparison again real quick. Moving on, you have this little room area here where this can kind of blow out, very similar to the way this blows out, although I don't know how intended it is on this version, but it's there if you want it. So moving in, we have the little torture chamber room. This is where Han Solo is being tortured. Or is it Leia? One of them is being tortured on this torture chamber device, and I didn't want to put any minifigures in there. It's a little tight space for me to fit my hands in, but there's also a doorway there as we get into a weird angle. The way to open the door is open the door. It slides open very nicely. There are a lot of doors on this set, actually, so we can go back here to the dining room. That door opens, and here, that door opens. The good thing about the doors that open up is if you have two hands, you can actually close them like that, or keep them open like that. You basically use this little thing here, and it goes into a hole. You can see the hole in the side there, and that just basically goes into that, and it holds the door open, so you don't have to worry about keeping the door open. Then you want to close, it actually closes kind of nicely. I like the way they can close. Moving on to this side, we have the landing pad, which, unlike the other set, actually has a ship to go on it that is included. Of course, this slave one is a beautiful design, and obviously just way better than the other slave one that's not even included in the set. So you have some more playability with this set. We are actually going to need to head over to Han Solo's freezing chamber here, or the carbon freezing chamber rather. grab this little block here. You can put the minifigure inside if you want. He can clip right in there. He'll fit right in. But on the bottom side of the Slave 1 here, there are a pair of clips. And what you can do is you can take Han Solo in Carbonite and put him there so that Boba Fett can take him off to Jabba the Hutt. So the other bit with this is you can actually fit Boba Fett inside. Unfortunately, you have to put his like rangefinder or his light there down or whatever it is. But he does fit inside. And there's not much other playability to this particular set, but very nice. The landing pad, again, just is a landing pad. You obviously have another door here that can open and close as you wish. Now there are more hallways here, nice red hallway. Moving over here, we have this little maintenance room. I believe there's supposed to be like Ugnaughts in here. Obviously, I'm using the Ugnaught over in another section of the set though. Right now we have R2-D2, Chewbacca, and C-3PO there on the little table or the conveyor belt. And you have this thing, which is like the incinerator, I think. So pretty crazy little thing going on there. And then of course, lastly, we have this room, which is for the twin pod cloud car, and you can fit the minifigures inside. It's a very tight fit, but they do fit in there. They can barely even see out the front there. So that's the minifigures in there. And then you can also open up this hatch right here, which is going to lead to a ladder, which is supposed to recreate Luke dropping down on the little thing underneath Cloud City or whatever. And it's the one feature that I find myself hard pressed to get any use out of, but it's nice that LEGO did include it. So which set has better features? I think it's pretty clear. I think the 2018 version has the best playability, like no question, hands down. There's just so much more they were able to do in 2018 versus 2003, and that's just kind of how things are. 2003 was very simplistic. Everything kind of ran together there. Carbon freezing chamber is way clunkier than the new one, although I will admit I have had some problems with the new one. I was able to fix it before this video. I don't know if they will come back up in the future as I drop more minifigures off to the side, but the old one, just the playability just isn't there as much as the new one, with so many more rooms and so many more minifigures to play with. And of course the spaceships that are actually included, the Slave 1 and the twin pod cloud car versus the ones that you have to buy additionally, just you can't beat it. So the new Cloud City has better playability. And new Cloud City moves farther into the lead, 2-0 with 3 categories to go. Our next category is design. So which one has the better overall aesthetic, which one looks better on display, and which one, like, you know, is space efficient, makes sense, everything kind of flows, and that's a tough one for me. So with the 2003 model, you had this very linear design. Everything kind of just flowed just straight down the path there. You went from the carbon freezing chamber to the dining room to the Darth Vader fight. Like, pretty simple, straightforward. With the 2018 version, however, it is not linear like that. It is I don't want to call it a mess, because it's like organized madness is the best way to put it. Like, it is a crazy looking set if you don't know what's going on. Like, there is just so many rooms, everything just kind of meshes together. It's not in a straight line like the old one. Like, it just isn't. But on the opposite side of that, it has so many different partitions, so the rooms are actually separate. The old one, everything just kind of blends together, right? Well, the new one, everything is separate, which is actually really, really nice. You can actually tell the difference between the rooms. There's walls and different ways that they've kind of used to mask to make walls, and just it's really good. Like, they've done a great job kind of separating everything versus the old one, which everything is just kind of together. And I guess that really comes down to which design you like better. And to me, I like that there's walls on this one. I like that all the rooms are separate. I think that's really good. Another part of the design is just all the intricate details on the newer one. And obviously it's newer. It's 15 years newer. It's going to have so many new little things that the old one didn't have, and that helps it. It just does. That's the way it is. The new one just has so many different bits of design that really help it. I think one of my favorite bits of design with the new one is the balcony. Like, the balcony design is so good. It's so good. Another good thing about the new design is that it has these kind of separators here at the top that really get the set together. So the old one kind of had that, I guess, with this. Kinda, not really. But this is like such a thing. This is a thing. Like, the way they've separated this set to make it actually separate, like, right, there's 4 separate distinct sections, and there's separate sections within those sections, which is just like mind-blowing, right? And then you of course have this little Cloud City bit on top that this one just completely lacks in any form or fashion. You have this nice little outer wall on this one that I actually really like. I think that actually looks really good. This one doesn't really have anything like that. No outer wall like that, unfortunately, with that type of design. But I think overall design is going to have to go to the 2018 version. The newer set, just those partitions, all the little walls, everything that goes into it, the little beautiful hallways and everything, just everything kind of comes together for a really nice and clean design, and having 15 years newer parts on the older version obviously helps. So the newer version is going to get a check mark for the design, and we'll give it a check mark. So the 2018 version takes a 3-2 lead. So now we need to talk about the value of the sets. Of course, the 2003 version was $100 for 698 pieces, but on the other hand, the newer version is $350 for 2,812 pieces. But if you take into account inflation, this set is like 20 cents per piece in today's money. Like, that is bonkers. Nobody would be happy about that. And I can understand. This set is, you know, like 12 or 13 cents per piece max, right? Like, it's nothing insane. And it's got some big pieces. This one also has some big pieces, to be fair. It's got these giant landing pads, but if you want to look at it from price per piece, this one's got it beat. It's a tough one because they are in two different price ranges. Which one has the better value? I think for $140 in today's money, that's not bad. It's not bad, right? Obviously, those spaceships aren't included. I should just take them off for now, just to give you a better idea. You're paying $140 for a playset without ships and a giant landing pad. I think that kind of makes it seem much less valuable than it did with those ships on there, right? So value, I think, has to go to the new one once again, just because you're looking at just a playset with nothing to really play with other than the main play feature being the carbon freezing chamber, versus over here you have two different ships, you have so many different rooms, so many different new and exclusive and good-looking minifigures that so many different people will like. You have something for everyone in this set, and the newer one is also going to get the check mark in the value. So that leaves us with just the M&R opinion. Obviously, this one has been a runaway freight train. It has destroyed the older version, in my opinion. Not that the older version's bad. It's got this nice, nostalgic look to it. Obviously, one of the best LEGO Star Wars sets, most coveted LEGO Star Wars sets ever, being one of the most expensive on the secondary market ever. Like, it's gone up in value like crazy since it was released, but obviously, the new one, just if you're looking at it side by side, blows it out of the water. So, M&R opinion, which set is better? And this is going to kill you guys, because, I think the new one's better. It just is. Like, everything about it is better. My opinion is that it's also better. Like, I like the old one. It's got that nostalgia factor, but that nostalgia factor does not... It's not like a 10-point nostalgia factor for me that throws it over the top against the new one. So for that reason, I'm going to say the new one is better. But vote on the poll on the top right. Maybe you guys think this one's better, and more power to you. But I just can't give it the nod in any category over the new one. I think the new one is just so incredible. They've done so many different unique and creative things with it versus the older one. So it's a tough one because I really like the older one, right? I spent $517 on that on eBay, but this new one is, it's on fire, man. It's a nice set, and I know a lot of people don't like it because it's not what they were expecting when they heard rumors of a new UCS Cloud City coming out, but I think LEGO has done an excellent job with the newer version, albeit a little expensive, but that is the overall design. You can see it does stand on this stilt. That's everything, guys. That is the entire Cloud City comparison. Those are both sets. The final tally, I suppose I should show y'all, it's going to be 5-0. So the older set got blown out of the water, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Are there any features, or maybe you think for some reason you have a good argument for why the older one is better? Let me know in the comments section. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. If you agree with me, let me know as well. Let me know what you guys think about the newer one versus the older one. You can vote again on the poll. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here for more LEGO Star Wars videos, LEGO videos in general. A lot of LEGO Movie 2 stuff coming out soon, so make sure you check that out. That's all I have for you guys in today's comparison video. If you do want to see more comparison videos, click the card on screen here in a second when you go to the out screen, and you can see more. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.